Hey everybody, it's Jesse, and today I'm going to show you what I've done with the our server.js file with trying to check to make sure our files are legit before we upload them. And we had a pull request, so Sebastian has done some work on client-side validation. I'd like to go over that. I'm going to try to get in 2 Pomodoro cycles worth of coding today. I have a meeting in an hour and a half, so it won't be super long stream today, but I think if we get in 2 25-minute Pomodoro sessions and leave the rest of the time for questions, that should definitely be enough to get in all the questions, unless we have a lot more questions than normal. So I'm going to get right into it. If I notice that there's a lot of new people in the live chat, I might give my normal explanation of what this is and what's going on, but otherwise, to save time, I'm just going to get right into it. Also have the Instagram live stream going as well, so if anybody's interested in that, not really anything exciting. You just get to see my face and the view of my office as if you were the monitor. Okay, so I just committed my latest work, and I'm going to push it to the repo now. Okay, so that is now on the file type check branch on the GitHub repo. The link is in the description. So if you want to check this out in the browser, or clone the repo and try it out for yourself, you can do that. So basically, here's what I've done, and some of it might not be absolutely necessary, but I figure, it's not like these checks are super resource intensive, so if I leave something in that may not be absolutely necessary, I'm not that worried about it. Maybe there is, some good reason to have it in there that I just can't think about in terms of a possible malicious file upload. So I'll just go through some of the things you've already seen. At the end of yesterday's stream, I realized that I had made a mistake, and I was checking for, basically I was getting the file type, the MIME type, but I was checking it against a regular expression that had file extensions instead. So obviously, like it was working for pings, but it didn't work for pretty much everything else, and so that's why I hadn't noticed it until the end. So now I have the correct checks, but I've kept both. So I'm getting the file extension from the file name, and I'm checking that, and I'm also getting the file type, and I'm checking it against the MIME types. So you can see these reflect the types down here, so a little bit longer, okay, but it's checking for the same thing. And I grabbed this from what Sebastian was doing on the client side, and thank you for that, Sebastian, because I was just getting ready to get these and compile something like this on my own, and then I saw your pull request and checked it out, and this saved me a bunch of time in trying to do this, so that was awesome. I appreciate that. So I'm doing those 2 checks, and you can see right now I just have this if statement that just has a bunch of checks. Probably, depending on what's going on and how much time I have, this could definitely use some refactoring and cleaning up. In fact, this entire server.js file is just getting really long, so it could use some work. I mean, it's functional, but it's not pretty right now. But I'm not going to bother cleaning it up until we get it to the point where it's working like we want it to work, and then we can clean it up. If anybody really likes to do the cleanup type of stuff, I appreciate and welcome any pull requests. Let me go. What are the other checks? Oh, okay. So I'm checking. I read up on node security. So let me show you what I found. So I found this article, and I linked to this here. So you can check that out if you look on the repo. So this kind of goes through some of the things that you can do to help protect against attacks from file uploads. And so I implemented some of this. One thing that it was saying is you don't want to allow dots and slashes in your file names. So I'm checking. Obviously we're going to have one dot for the file extension, right? So I'm okay with one dot, but anything more than one dot I'm going to reject. So this has dots here, that's what it's checking for. So if has dots is true, meaning it has more than one dot, then we reject the file. Similar thing with slashes, but I don't want any slashes. So if it has a slash, then this will be true and we'll reject it. The other thing that I had never heard of, but I read about, was this poison null bytes. So I'm not 100% sure that I understand how to do this, right? Like if I was in the place of the attacker, I don't know how I would do this, but basically it's a way to, whoops, I didn't mean to click on that. Basically it's a way to show one file name, but that's not really the real file name. So you could have a file name that passes all the other tests, but then really the file name could be something that has like something more like this down here that has your dots and slashes that would allow a user to access directories that they shouldn't access. Okay, so I guess I understand what could happen. Not really sure how to do that, but I added a check for this in. So basically I just took this and now I'm checking here for it's a poison null bytes check. So if this is true, that means it's bad, and so we reject it. So that's everything that I've added so far. I think I'm probably going to move on at this point and do some more with other parts of the site. I need to get this ready to show people in my department and get feedback, because there are probably going to be some changes. I had a meeting this morning, department meeting, and went over some things. The Trello board, which I think is linked in the description, has some new items on there for changes to content, additions to content. So I'd like to get some things working and make sure that everything, at least visibly, is ready for people to give me feedback on. So probably won't work on this again until a little bit later on, but for now we do have some decent checks and protections. Not perfect, but it's still not, it's much better than what we had just a few days ago. Alright, so now I'm going to go to the client side, and I just realized that I forgot to set my Pomodoro timer, so I'm about 10 minutes in. Yeah, I guess I'll just set it, and I'll just set it for the full 25, and if we get down to it and there's a few minutes left, I may just stop it a bit early. So let me just show you. I'm gonna have to switch. Let's see. Let me check the live chat. I just realized that I hadn't even looked at it at all yet. So hey everyone. Oh, Oscar says hello from Venezuela. Hey, welcome. He says these videos have been a great help to me. Thank you so much. Hey, you're welcome. I'm really glad that they're helpful to you. When I hear stuff like that, it makes me want to keep going, keep doing these videos. So that's awesome. Okay, Sebastian said, Okay, here's some good stuff. So let me explain this. So Sebastian had a question here, and I want to explain this. I forgot that I did this. So Sebastian's version of this was a little bit bigger. So it had things like application. So all of them had this kind of first part here, and Sebastian was asking, does it work without that? And it does. If you do, so what I'm doing up here for my file type is I'm only getting what's after that slash, right? So that's why I was able to leave off all the other things. So if you look at what Sebastian did on the pull request, I think it's pull request 56. Yeah, I think 56. And I think Sebastian actually had two pull requests. 55 did get merged into master, and that fixed an error that was happening in the console that had to do with IDs on input fields. So thank you for that, Sebastian. But anyway, that's why it works, because I'm not getting the entire file type. I'm splitting that and just getting that last part. So either way would work. It just depends on what you're checking it against. So in this case, I'm checking it against the file type, which is just really just the last part of the file type. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, cool. Sebastian says I got it. Yeah. So sorry about that. I didn't even remember that I did that. So yeah, but like I said, either way it'll work. Okay, Sebastian also said he doesn't think that he got all of them, skipped a few. Okay, cool. I'll just have to go through. Actually, I found a site that has, it seems like it says that it has all the different MIME types. So I'll go through and check it out. It looks like you definitely got most of them, but I'll double check and go through that site. Oh, okay, so Patrick has a few tips for me here. Actually, so Patrick, poison no bites check, poison no bites check. Patrick, when you're talking about the poison null bytes check, I'm not sure what you're meaning there when you have it twice with like the little arrow in between it. So I'm sorry, I'm just not understanding. So if you could explain that a little bit more, I would appreciate it. Okay, Patrick says, also I have multiple dots in file names pretty often. Which you should be concerned with is double dots. That's a really good point. Oh, did I just misspell poison? Is that the problem? Okay, I see it. I see now that it was spelled differently. Let me see. P-O. Oh, man. Thanks for... Okay. Thank you. That's funny. Yesterday I came home and my wife said she was working on a freeCodeCamp problem, the one about converting Celsius to Fahrenheit, and it's one of the early JavaScript algorithms, and she said she'd been working on it for a long time. I think she said like 45 minutes. She couldn't get it to work. So she wanted me to look at it. So I looked at it for a little while, and probably just a few minutes. And I went through everything, and it was like, yeah, you know, this should work. What's going on? And she had just spelled Celsius wrong. So that was the problem. She had spelled two different ways. So it kept saying it was undefined inside the function. She was trying to pass in Celsius as the parameter, right? And so anyway, that was the whole problem. So, and I told her, don't worry about it. That happens to me all the time in front of everybody on YouTube. So don't be don't be embarrassed. And here it just happened less than 24 hours after that. So Anyway, I always appreciate that when you all catch that. So, I mean, in this case, it wouldn't. Everything still would have run properly because I had misspelled it consistently, but it's still good to have it spelled right. Alright, sorry about it. I just kept, a bunch of messages just came up in my Slack for my department. I just wanted to skim through quickly and see if there was some sort of emergency. It looks like... Okay, it looks like it's fine, so... Alright, so I think we've got the spelling sorted out. I'll go back and double check and make sure we're covering all the types that we want to cover here. And now let me show you what's going on with the client-side validation. So where's my... Here, I'll bring this over so y'all can see. I'm going to check out a different branch. So let's do get checkout. And what did I name this? Oops, hold on a second. I have to get a knock at the door. Hey, what's up?
MaterialUI. Oh, sorry. Oh, real quick. How soon are we moving to Office 365?
Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Okay, so I need to check out to a different branch, and I can't remember what the name of that was. There we go. Okay, so now we're on this branch, and I can bring over... Okay, so it looks like it's working. Let me bring this over. Alright, so I'll show you what it's doing first, like what a user would see, and then we can check out the code. You can see the code, I think I mentioned earlier, it's pull request 56 will show the new code that's been put in by Sebastian. So you can see now, like if I try to put in numbers for my name, it'll say it's not a valid name. Same thing, email, right? So we have immediate feedback, which is pretty awesome. And also, if we try to submit without the required fields, it says, right, please fill out this field. So really useful. It's nice to have. We also are checking types for the upload. So if I try to upload something that's not supported, it won't work. So let me see. I'm assuming this isn't supported. Let's see if this works. Actually, that's not working right now. I didn't test this out earlier, but I know this is it's in there somewhere. So I guess I could try to submit it, but it's probably not going to work because we're on the. I wonder what would happen. Oh, okay. So I don't know how many of these Sebastian made required, but we need to go through. I still need to get confirmation from people in my department as to what fields really need to be required. My preference is to make as few fields required as possible so that it's easier for the user, but I understand that there are some things that are really important to know ahead of time. So we'll see. So I can't exactly complete this yet until I have that information. I have most of the information to complete these checkboxes, so that'll be happening soon. And yeah, I can definitely at least get everything I know for sure will be in here, and then I'll get some feedback on that. But that's basically it. And I mean, it may not look like a lot right here, but I'm sure, as you know, if you've done something like this, it's not just simple to do that. There's a lot that goes into it. So let me show you just a little bit about how this was done. So if we check out our package JSON, you'll see we have Formsy React and Formsy MaterialUI. So this is really nice and helpful. There's already a library that does validation, and it integrates with MaterialUI. So that takes care of so much for us. That was a really good job finding that, Sebastian. I vaguely remember looking into Formsy maybe months ago for something, and I'd completely forgotten about it. So I would have tried to have done this completely on my own had you not found that, and that would have taken much longer. So on the service request form, we're importing things from Formsy and then using them. So our entire form then is wrapped. This is getting to be a big component, huh? Our entire form then is wrapped in this Formsy form component. So a little bit of a change in the way this looks, but in terms of, you know, on this end of things, but pretty much everything inside, like, about the same, right? We have some changes, right? So Formsy checkbox, right? So we do have some things that are, at least for the words, you know, the names of the components are slightly different, but not too bad in terms of trying to implement this. So this is not it. I'm just going over, this is not everything that Sebastian did, so I'm going over this quickly so we can move on to some other stuff. But you can see Formsy is a really good way to do this, and it's not like you don't have to know a lot about form validation yourself to implement some of this, which is really cool. Okay. Alright, so let's check out what we can do now on the Trello board. So like I said, I'm going to kind of move this back a bit and go back to it. Just so at this point I really do need some feedback. I think I could be moving faster if I knew exactly what was wanted. I'm kind of finding more things to do, or trying to think of more things to do until I get the info I need. And I haven't been super proactive in trying to seek out the information. You know, I much prefer to just be sitting in my office coding than trying to track down people and email and get the information I need. So it's I guess partially my fault that I haven't been more aggressive at that. Let's see. Let's talk a few minutes. Actually, this might be fun to do. So I haven't done this before. So here's what I want to do. So let me show you. Where's our checkboxes? I don't know if I should do it on this branch or not. Probably not. Let's go to another branch. This is going to be minor enough. I think I could just do it on master. It should be fine. But let me just change one of these checkboxes. Alright, we're going to change that to photography. Great. So here's what I want to happen. We have some additional information that needs to be displayed if someone selects photography. So what I would like to happen is when they select photography, have a modal come up, or basically something needs to come up, and I'm not entirely sure what the best thing would be right now. My initial thought was a modal, and then I thought, oh, well, you know, if that modal pops up every time, it's going to get annoying for people who have read it multiple times. So then I thought perhaps a tooltip, right? So that when you put your cursor over top of it, then it comes up. That could work too. It's not. It's probably a bit too much information for a tooltip though. Let me show you what the info will be, just to give you an idea. So it's going to be this whole list. I think originally I was supposed to put the dates in here, but I'm going to, now they want me to leave out the dates. So it's just going to be this big list of events, and then also some explanatory text. So I don't know, I think that's way too much for a tooltip. I think it would be better in a modal. It's scrollable, especially like on mobile. It's entirely possible that this list could be bigger than the viewport. So I guess I'm thinking more of a modal. So that's what I need. So basically, when this is checked, the modal needs to pop up, and then the modal can be dismissed, but the check would still be there. So it's not going to be tied, you know, completely into the check in terms of, you know, you can uncheck. Certainly, if you check the modal needs to pop up, but when the modal is dismissed, I want the check to stay there, right? Patrick's idea is how about an info icon that pops the modal independent of the checkbox label. I did think of an info icon. I'm okay with an info icon. I was kind of anticipating that other people in my department would not be okay with that, but it might be worth it just to put it in anyway and see if I can get by with that. I think it's better and less intrusive with the info icon, but from past experience with my department, they want to make sure that people see things, right? So, you know, they want there to be no question that, you know, no one could come and say, well, I didn't know. You know, they want to be able to say, well, you had to have seen it because you couldn't have gone any further without seeing it, right? So if I can get it through with the icon, then that's fine. So let's do that. Let's add an icon, and let's make it so that if you click that icon, then the modal comes up. It'll be independent of the checkbox. Yeah, I think that'll be the best way to do it. I also think it might not be a bad idea if we have time to add in the email. So if photography is checked, the email that gets sent to the user confirming their submission will also have that info about photography. And that way I think we may get, it may be okay to just have that icon there, because they'll be getting it a second time directly to their email. Yeah, so I think that sounds like it'll work. Let me check my timer before we start on this. Okay, let me take my break now, because if you remember, I started my timer 9 minutes late. So let's take the 5-minute break now. I'm going to go to the live chat, check everything. Probably won't need the whole 5 minutes for the live chat because there's not very many questions. But then we'll come back and we'll put this modal in. So we do have some modals, but I don't think that I've done any modals on the stream. I think they were all from a pull request. So this will be cool. We'll see how to do modals in MaterialUI. I don't know, probably not going to get to the email thing. That'll be on the list of things that if we have time we'll get to, but it's not really necessary. Okay, so let me go. If you're not familiar with how the stream works, I take 5-minute breaks between 25-minute coding sessions to go to the live chat, answer any questions that you might have. After the 5-minute break, I'll go back and do another session. For today's stream, I'm just going to do 2 sessions total, so I have 1 more session after this. Then we'll finish up with a question and answer session that is normally as long as it takes to get to all the questions. Today I do have a hard break though, because I have a meeting at 3:30 Eastern Time, which is in about an hour. All right, so let me scroll up. Okay, Sebastian wanted me to share a link to the security article. All right, I will put that in the live chat now, and it's also a comment in the server.js file on the file type check branch. Is that what I called it? I think so. Yeah, Jordan says, "What up, programming peeps? Hey, how's it going? Thanks for joining us." Oh, cool. Sebastian said the first to do is almost implemented. Yeah, for sure. Where did I put that? Yeah, anyway, Sebastian, I was like really happy when I saw your pull request, because I was thinking like this is going to take a long time for me to implement. Wait a second. So Sebastian says he can't find the pull request, his pull request on GitHub. Let me double check. Which pull request are you talking about? The one with the client-side validation, or the one before that? So I guess it would be 55 or 56. Oh, you know what? That S client validation branch, I did not push that up yet. So it's only exists locally for me. It's just a copy of your pull request. And actually, I think it was before the last commit, so it's not even up to date. So I'll need to pull it down again to get the latest. Jonathan says, I've just started the responsive design with Bootstrap section on freeCodeCamp. I have no clue what's going on here, but I like that this is happening. All right, cool. I'm glad you like it. And feel free to ask any questions. I'm happy to answer questions. Don't worry about if you think the question is too simple or something. It's no questions bother me. So feel free to ask. There's a lot of really knowledgeable people that know more than I do in the live chat that can help answer things as well. Sometimes it takes me a little while to get to the questions, but I do try to answer everything before the stream is over. And I'll try to explain things as best I can as I go along. Okay. All right, I think I got through everything. So, okay, not bad. I didn't think it'd take the full 5 minutes, but I got close. So I'm gonna go ahead and start this timer, and let's do another 25-minute session of coding. When I do these sessions, it's not that I ignore the live chat. Sometimes I check back, especially if I get stuck and need to ask for some help. But I just usually don't answer questions during that period. Okay, so the plan is make an icon. When you click the icon, then the modal comes up. Sebastian, I think, had mentioned maybe hovering over the icon and have the tooltip appear. I thought about that too, but like I said before, I think it's too much information for just a tooltip. I think a tooltip would have been ideal if it wasn't for that giant list of things that needs to go in there. So, yeah, so I think we're going to go with the modal. Let's see how we can put this in. So right now we just have these strings going in. I don't know if I can put in an icon, but let's see if I can put in HTML and see what it does. I'll just try this out first. Okay, can't like that. Let's see how this is getting put in there. Alright, so this left checkbox is. I wonder. Alright, let's try to do it like this then. Instead of making it a string, let's put this whole thing in the span. Let's see what we get. Nah. Oops. Nah, not working there. Okay. Alright, so down here. Down here we're doing some things with that label, and so that's not allowing us to put in what we need. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so we need to find a way to pass, unless you can think of some way around it, we need to be able to pass HTML instead of a string, which we may be able to do. But right now we are since we're doing this, where are we using label? Okay. Yeah, we're using this a lot. Alright, well let's take this off of the checkbox field. Alright, so just for this checkbox field, just to test it, I'm going to stop this format label to property and let's see. Let's just put alright, hopefully it'll let me do this just so I can test this out. Obviously I don't want to keep it like this, but this should still work for everything else. I just needed to work for the checkboxes. Alright, let's see. Looks like it's not gonna work. Alright, am I still calling this somewhere? I shouldn't be calling this anywhere else. Let's double check. Alright, so let's check it out. That string props. Okay, so that shouldn't be doing it. Okay, where's this checkbox props? Okay, are we doing it here too? Alright, where are we using checkbox props? Alright, I'm really gonna mess this up, so I just want to test if this is even possible before I make really big changes. Alright, let's see. Yes. Alright, awesome. So it does work. Alright. So I didn't do a great job explaining that, so let me kind of sum up what I did. The whole point of what I was trying to do is that I wanted to see if I could pass in HTML and have it render. So I did. So I did here. So you can see there are spans here, but they don't show up. So that's what we want. So that works. Now, in the process of being able to do that, I had to disable a lot of other stuff that was going on. So I may have made this form, at least the checkbox portion of it, useless. And you can see, since I've just given all the checkboxes the same name, then the checks just keep going like this. So hold on 1 second, everyone. I gotta take this. Hello? Hey, how's it going? All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Today's been crazy for interruptions, but that was. I got a request to do some work on a site that's not really one that I maintain, but we don't. The position that's supposed to maintain that is open right now. We don't have anybody in there, so I guess I'm going to do it. And I also got invited to a Labor Day picnic, so that's cool. So let me see. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna catch up just quickly on the live chat because it looks like. So Quincy's in the chat. Hey, Quincy, if you're still in there listening in the chat, I emailed you back right before I started the stream. So if you didn't get it, I'll just tell you. Basically. My Skype is just jesse.weigel, and I'm available today after 4 and then tomorrow after 4, but also tomorrow I could probably Skype between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., and that's all Eastern time. Okay. Okay, I think that's everything that I need to catch up with. Yes, Quincy, 4 p.m. Eastern Time today. Yeah, sorry about the email. I mean, I'm like almost positive that I definitely typed it out. Maybe I didn't stick around long enough to see if it actually sent. Yeah, just. Let me know. Like I said, I have a short meeting at 3:30 p.m. today, so I think it should be over by 4 Eastern. But it shouldn't run much longer than that. Anyway, yeah, just let me know. Whatever time's good for you will probably work for me, as long as I don't have a meeting or anything. Okay, let's see. We'll go. Okay, this is the last thing. So we solved one problem and caused another, basically, which is okay. I knew that was going to happen when I was changing things in there. So let's see. Before I go about changing this, I want to try to put in an icon just to be sure that I can actually put an icon and it works. I don't see why it wouldn't work, but let's test it. No sense trying to rewrite a bunch of what we're doing elsewhere in that component if this isn't going to work for sure. So yeah, so we'll definitely need. We need to make sure. I'm going to try to use an SVG icon. Hopefully that works. We're going to have to make sure that we change the way that this click works, because right now you can click anywhere on here and it will check or uncheck the boxes. So we're gonna have to do something similar to what we did down here, except what I'd like to do is have the word photography still be clickable for the check, but then only the icon be what brings up the modal. So if we can do that, then we will. Otherwise, it'll be okay if users have to just check on the box. I would imagine that most people's first instinct is to check directly on the box anyway. Let's see. I just glanced over and I saw we have a question. It says, what are we doing now? What is this project? Basically, right now, we're going to add an icon here on this checkbox, and when you click it, it's going to open up a modal. Overall, the main point of the project is to have a form where people can put in requests for work. and then that form data gets sent to our project management system, and then it also sends out several emails to people, one of them being the user that inputs this data. Alright, so let's go back and, well, first let's grab an SVG icon. So let's check out the material. There we go. Material icons. Alright, cool. So we have info. I think I like this one. Info outline. SVG. And we can just grab the code and I'm just going to put this right in here and see what happens. Let's see if that works. Oh, not bad. It worked. Great. Okay, cool. So we have an icon. That's awesome. Definitely need some positioning work here, but I'm not worried about that yet. Awesome. Okay, so we have our icon. Let's see. How did I do this before? Let's see what I did down here. Maybe Oh, okay. All right, so here's how I did this, and here's how the checkboxes work. I may have to come up with a different way to do this then. So the input, this will be easier to show it on DevTools. Basically, normally the input is a lot wider, right? So it goes over. So what I did was I made the input width be a lot shorter. Okay, so that's all I needed to do to make sure that we could click this and it would be a link instead of just making the checkbox be filled in. So up here, it's not going to be quite as easy to do. I mean, right now we could, I don't really want to do it this way, but this way will work. If we took these checkboxes here, and instead of just having it be an array, it could be an array of objects, right? And then we could have the checkbox name, or the label, and then also the value that we would put as the style. And then we'd have to change everything we're doing. Well, we're already gonna have to change the way we do this anyway, so it might not be that bad. If we're gonna add this SVG in here, we can't keep it. We can't keep this. We're gonna have to do something else. So that's a possibility. The other possibility would be, let me try this out. So I haven't done this in a while, but I remember doing something like this before that worked. So we would go, No, this won't work. Basically what I was going to do was go pointer events none, and then on the icon say pointer events all. Sorry, it's yawning. But that's not going to work because then you couldn't actually click the checkbox. So I think the best bet is to make this checkbox just a lot more narrow. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go to live chat. If anybody has any suggestions other than what I had just said that we could possibly do, let me know. I'll just take a minute to see what's in the live chat before I try to implement any of this, because it's possible there's some better solution that I'm overlooking. Let's see. Okay. Okay, John Hansen said, I much prefer the icon that is like an eye with an arrow inside the box, more intuitive to a visitor, as it says this will open something up. I guess I'm open to different icons. I'd like to stick with ones that are like material design, that are normally used with material design. Also ones that are SVG. So within that kind of within those constraints, I'm open to having different things. Okay. Man, I don't think I'm going to have time since our second Pomodoro session is almost over. If anyone does have any ideas about this at any point during the question and answer session that we're about to have or later on or anything, please let me know, because I'm just really like, I would hate to just change so much of what's going on here just for one of these checkboxes. I mean, maybe it's possible that we would do similar things with other checkboxes in the future, but right now there's no plans for that. Maybe once people see this, then they'll request to have it on other things. I mean, it could potentially be useful. There's just so much, I guess there's so much potential for messing more things up when I'm going to go and change a lot of this, but yeah, I guess it has to happen. I'm just not seeing another better way right now. Okay, so that's the second Pomodoro session up. I guess we kind of got some stuff done, not to the point where it's ready. Obviously, right? We can't have that, but I think we're on the right track. I mean, I know what could be done to get it to work, so that's better than being out of ideas, I suppose. So I'm going to go to the live chat now. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat. I'll do my best to answer it. If you can't stick around to answer the question, then you can just direct message me or watch the recording of this later on. If you were just here for the code and you gotta stop watching now, that's cool too. Thanks for watching. I'll be back again tomorrow. I'm thinking tomorrow's show will probably be a little earlier, maybe like 1 p.m. Eastern, 1:30. I'll of course schedule it as early as I can tomorrow, and I'll put a message on Twitter as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go through here. Let's see. It looks like there's not a whole lot in there, so if you are going to answer your question, I would do it quick because I'm going to get through these in a few minutes, it looks like. Let's see. I'm on Mustafa, hopefully I pronounced that right, sorry if I didn't, says you got followers from Egypt. Awesome. Thanks for watching. Emmanuel says, and follower from Haiti too. Awesome. Thank you so much for watching. I'm on also said, I'm front end, should I continue watching? Yeah, we mostly do front end stuff. So we have, I suppose, been doing some stuff that would be more back end for the last couple of streams, but mostly we do front end stuff. So this is definitely the right place for you. Oh, okay. You know what? John just mentioned something that I think this is going to be a lot easier than I'm making it out to be. I think I was just overthinking this too much. So John says, can't the checkbox on that info icon change the state of the modal? And you're entirely right. It could definitely do that. So for whatever reason, I was thinking I wanted these to be independent, but I think when I initially explained this, I had explained that if you check that, a modal would come up. So what will happen, like let's say that I don't go through everything to make this independently clickable from this. What will happen then is if you click that I, it'll actually check this. Now, potentially that could be slightly annoying to a user if they just were curious about what this was and didn't intend to check the box, but they could always uncheck it. You know, it's not I guess it's not like a huge inconvenience. I could see that it would be slightly unexpected, but yeah, we could just have it so that a click on here not only activates that checkbox, but it also makes the modal pop up. In fact, there may be some sort of callback where we could make that happen already, but that kind of, it gives us the same problem of how do we put that callback just on this one and not on the other ones without changing this into some sort of array of objects. For a second I thought this would be a lot easier, but I guess it won't be. I guess as it's set up currently, there's really no way around adding some extra properties here. Okay. Yeah. So it may end up, if I'm gonna have to add things to that array either way, I probably just should make it happen whenever this is clicked and make it independent of the checkbox. Okay. Aim High is here. Hey, awesome. Haven't seen you in the live chat for a while, but said had the most unproductive day today. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sometimes that happens. If you wanna give any details, if you need to talk about it, that's cool. Either in the live chat or you can message me on Twitter if you want. I definitely, it happens. So don't get too down about it, because there are some days when you're super productive and some days when you're not so productive. But I'm sure there's always something good to be said for any day. Oh, okay. John Hansen says you can do callback on key value. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. I'm gonna have to just think about this more. I think I'd like to take some time to just look at that component as it is now and what all is going on, and rethink what would be the best way to organize this given what we want to do now. Because when we first made that, we didn't have this in mind at all. So it's possible that it should undergo a big change because the requirements are different now. And that might be better to try to do a big change and have it make more sense, from here on out, in view of what we may want to do, not only with this checkbox but with other checkboxes. So yeah, I'll have to look at that. I haven't worked on this for, well, basically since we first made it. So I need to kind of refamiliarize myself with it, and we have had some pull requests with that as well. So it looks different than when I was doing things with it. So yeah, maybe I should, before I change any more and try to make a big decision about it, then I just need to get to know what's going on. John says, this is what can make React a bit mind-boggling. yeah, it can sometimes. I forget where I saw it. I probably either on Twitter or Instagram, but somebody was saying React makes simple things easy, or complicated things easy, and easy things complicated, or something like that. And I could see, yeah, some things are really easy with React, and some things are like, if I was just using jQuery, this would be so easy. But all in all, I really do like React. I think it's worth the occasional headaches to try to do a thing that would otherwise be pretty easy. And in this case, I don't necessarily think it's React's fault. I think it's just we had initially organized this without thinking about doing anything like this. So, obviously it's not going to work with it as is. Sebastian says, well, I keep updating my pull requests with small changes, not really following the stream. That's cool, Sebastian. I'm not going to complain about that. I definitely appreciate the pull requests and all the changes. So, I like having you in the live chat as well, but that's definitely a great reason to not be paying attention. All right, well, I think I've got through everything in the live chat, and I have about 10 minutes before I need to leave my office and start walking over to the other building where the meeting's going to be at. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching, for joining in the live chat. I appreciate all the advice and the suggestions that you have, and all the encouragement. I'll be back tomorrow. Like I said earlier, it'll probably end up being a little bit earlier than normal, so maybe like 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah, and special thanks again to everyone who submits pull requests and things as well. That's just super helpful. And it's helped me get a lot better by reviewing, all those pull requests and seeing how you do everything. All right, yeah. So I'll be back tomorrow, and until then, have a great day.